grade 7. This is Teacher Janice who will guide you in today's lesson. Previously, you've learned the concept of adding and subtracting integers. We will be applying this concept in adding and subtracting rational numbers. What are rational numbers? Rational numbers are numbers that can be written in the form a over b, where a and b are integers and b should not be equal to 0. It is usually called fractional numbers or fraction for short. The restriction that b should not be equal to 0 is necessary because dividing by 0 is not allowed. There is no specific quotient that can answer a over b if b equals 0. So, after this lesson, you are expected to perform addition and subtraction on rational numbers.
To start with, let us first differentiate similar fractions and dissimilar fractions. Similar fractions are fractions with the same denominators, while dissimilar fractions are fractions with different denominators. Let's have an example. For similar fractions, we have 4 over 5 plus 6 over 5. The denominators are both 5. For dissimilar fractions, we have 4 over 3 minus 6 over 5. The denominator of the first fraction is 3 and the denominator of the second fraction is 5. In adding or subtracting fractions or rational numbers, we can only add or subtract similar fractions. For the similar fractions, we need to rewrite them to similar fractions. Remember that every answer in adding or subtracting rational numbers should be expressed in simplified form. An improper fraction should be expressed as mixed number. Let's start with lesson number 1. The rules for adding and subtracting signed similar fractions. To add fractions having the same sign, whether both positive or both negative, add the numerators, disregarding the signs over the common denominator, then affix the common sign. Examples: letter A, 3 over 7 plus 2 over 7. It says in the rules that we will add the numerators, carry the common denominator, and carry also the common sign. The sign of 3 and 2 are both positive. So if we are going to add 3 and 2, our answer should be also positive 5. Meaning, our answer here is 5 over 7. Letter B example. Negative 3 over 5 plus the quantity negative 4 over 5. First step, we are going to add the numerators and then carry the common denominator. If we're going to take a look at the sign of 3 over 5 and 4 over 5, they are both negative. So, we are going to carry the common sign, which is negative. Then, add 3 and 4. So that is 7. And then, copy negative and 5. Okay, negative 7 over 5 is not yet our final answer because it says in the rule that if it is an improper fraction, we are going to express it as mixed number. To express 7/5 as mixed number, we are going to follow the rules in dividing fractions. So, our answer will be -1 and 2/5. Moving on to the second rule. To add fractions with different signs, get the absolute value of the difference of the numerators over the common denominator, then affix the sign of the fraction having the greater value. What does it mean by this? We are going to subtract the numerators and then get the absolute value of our answer, and then we will carry the sign of the fraction having the greater value. Examples: letter A, 5/7 plus -2/7. So we are going to subtract the numerator first and then get the absolute value, then copy the common denominator. So 5 minus 2 is equal to 3/7. Our answer here is positive because the fraction having the greater value, which is 5/7, is positive. Okay, letter B example. 2/5 plus the quantity 3/5. Again, we will subtract the numerators and then get the absolute value and then copy the common denominator. After carrying the common denominator, we will carry again the sign of the fraction with the greater value. The fraction with the greater value is 3/5 and its sign is negative. So, we will affix the negative sign. Now, we will subtract 2 and 3. The answer is negative. But we will get the absolute value, that is positive 1. Then, copy negative and 5. Last rule of adding and subtracting signed similar fractions. To subtract two signed fractions, add the numerators minuend and the opposite of the subtrahend over the common denominator. To further understand this third rule, let's have examples. Letter A, 7/8 minus 1/8. Where is our minuend and where is our subtrahend? 7/8 is the minuend while 1/8 is the subtrahend. In the rule, it says that we will add the numerator of the minuend and the opposite of the subtrahend over the denominator. The numerator of the subtrahend is positive. So, if we will get the opposite, it will become negative. Okay, next, proceed now to the rules in adding different signs. Subtract the numerators, get the absolute value, then carry the denominator. Performing operation and the absolute value, we will arrive at an answer of 6, then copy over 8. Our answer can be simplified. They are both divisible by 2. Dividing the numerator and the denominator by 2, our final answer will be 3 over 4. Example B. Negative 4 over 11 minus negative 3 over 11. Again, add the numerator of the minuend and the opposite of the subtrahend over the common denominator. Next, proceed to the rules of adding different signed fractions. Subtract the numerator, get the absolute value, and copy the common denominator. Then, carry the sign of the numerator having the greater value. 4 is greater than 3, so we will carry the sign of 4, which is negative. Subtract now 4 and 3, answer will be 1. And don't forget to copy negative and 11. Moving on to letter C example. 9 over 13 minus the quantity negative 4 over 13. Add again the numerator of the minuend and the opposite of the subtrahend. Copy the common denominator. Then proceed to addition. 9 plus 4 is 13, and then copy the denominator, of course. Now, 13 divided by 13 is equal to 1. Okay, example letter D. Negative 7 over 15 minus 2 over 15. Following the rules again in subtracting signed similar fractions, add the minuend's numerator and the opposite of the subtrahend's numerator. Carry the common denominator. Next, the numerators are both negative, so we will follow the rules in adding signed similar fractions. Add the numerator, then carry the common sign and the denominator. 7 plus 2 equals 9. And of course, copy the denominator and the negative. So, our final answer here is negative 9 over 15. Last example for this rule. 1 over 8 minus 7 over 8. Add the numerator of the minuend and the opposite of the subtrahend. Copy the denominator. Then proceed to the rules of adding different signed fractions. Because 1 is positive and 7 is negative. The rules state that we will subtract the numerator, get the absolute value, copy the denominator, then carry the sign of the fraction having the greater value, that is negative 7. Okay, subtract now 1 and 7. Our answer will be negative 6, but we will get the absolute value, so it will become 6 over 8. Of course, do not forget to copy the negative. Again, They are both divisible by 2. So, let's simplify our answer to negative 3 over 4. Yay! We are now on the last rule. The rules for adding and subtracting signed dissimilar fractions. To add or subtract fractions with different denominators or dissimilar fractions, rewrite them to similar fractions first using the least common denominator or LCD. Then, perform the indicated operation using the rules for adding or subtracting signed similar fractions. Again, to add or subtract fractions with different denominators, rewrite them to similar fractions first using the least common denominator. Then, perform the indicated operation using the rules for adding or subtracting signed similar fractions. As always, we will understand more the rules if we will have examples. First example, 1/2 plus 2/3. First step, let's find the least common denominator, meaning we will look for the least number that can divide both 2 and 3. Let's start. If we say our LCD is 2, is it divisible by 2? Yes. How about 3? It's not. Next, if our LCD is 3, is it divisible by 2? No, but it is divisible by 3. Next, how about 4? Divisible by 2? Yes, but not divisible by 3. How about 6? Yes, it is divisible by 2 and it is divisible by 3 also. This can conclude that our LCD is 6. Next, divide the LCD with 2, that is 3, times the numerator equals 3. Plus, divide again the LCD with 3 times the numerator 2 equals 4. Get now the sum of 3 and 4, that is 7 over 6. 7 over 6 is an improper fraction, so let's simplify it to a mixed number. Our final answer will be 1 and 1 over 6. Letter B example. 5 over 6 minus the quantity negative 1 over 4. Let's find again our LCD. So, the least number that can divide both 6 and 4 is 12. Next, get the quotient of 12 and 6, that is 2. Then, multiply it with 5. Answer, 10. Copy, minus. Divide also 12 with 4. Quotient will be 3. Multiply it with the numerator negative 1. We'll get a product of negative 3. Recall now the rules in subtracting signed similar fractions. What is the first step to do again? We will add the numerator of the minuend and the opposite of the subtrahend over the denominator. Then, add 10 and 3 equals 13 over 12. Simplify this improper fraction to mixed number. Our answer will be 1 and 1 over 12.
That ends our lesson for today. Please contact your subject teacher if you still find difficulty in our lesson. Once again, I am Teacher Janice and be glad to see me again in the next lesson.